that are different? Obviously, the car is one of them, and also your thoughts heading into qualifying tomorrow.
Definitely a big shout out to people that look after the track. It's nice to have a smooth front straight. I think it's been about 10 years in waiting, that one, so it's exciting. I think they've worked really hard on the surface of the circuit throughout the past 4 or 5 years, and turn one alone I think is going to create some very good racing. And probably eliminate some of the mistakes going into one, especially straight out of the pits, which has caught some of the competitors out in the past. But it's great to see those updates, and I think it will be much better for our racing. I'm actually surprised how quick the cars are, considering the less less amount of downforce. Almost 1,400 pounds less. So it's I think we're faster than the practices last year. So for us, the Penske Bank car rolled off fast. That's always nice when you have that opportunity. We struggled a little bit to put a lap together on the blacks early on when the tyres are good. We made a couple of improvements later, so hopefully that transfers tomorrow. But I expect tomorrow the competition to be really tight. We put a decent lap together there on the reds, but I think a lot of others will tomorrow too.
You're both veterans of the sport. You're very used to the diversity that comes with racing in the Verizon IndyCar Series. But how difficult is it to go from a track like Iowa to a track like Toronto? Just two completely different animals.
I mean, it is different, but because it's a difference, I think you almost like switched on. I mean, it's not only for this race, but you go into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, go 235 miles per hour, and then four days later you bump into a truck in Detroit, and so it's a lot of contrast. But it's just to show the variety of IndyCar series has, and that's a very exciting part. And for us driver, because the package is so different between ovals and street course, so for us it's okay. I mean, that's part of the job that you have to accommodate really quickly.
Scott, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I love the differences between the disciplines. I think that's what's really exciting. There's so many exciting things about the Verizon IndyCar Series, but this one definitely stands out. Makes it extremely tough to win the championship. You have to be good throughout those different tracks that we go to. Obviously for last week for us coming here, it's already started a lot better. Maybe we should have run our Toronto car. Iowa might have been a little bit quicker, but. And I think Iowa's maybe the bumpiest track on the circuit now, not Detroit. But it's all these tracks have a lot of character. They change from year to year. It's the target always keeps moving, and I think that's what keeps it exciting and so difficult to be competitive each weekend.
We'll open for questions, starting with Bruce and then Jared.
Scott, when you figure...
I'm sorry, Bruce. We have a microphone right behind you.
Scott, in a lot of ways, do you feel fortunate that last weekend when you had an un-Scott Dixon-like race, your chief competitors also didn't have a very good race either, so you were able to maintain a decent points lead?
Yeah, it definitely helps. We had so many issues with the race. We started really loose, then we had the gearbox issue where we'd get stuck in a gear for 3 or 4 laps and it would cool off, and then I could start shifting again, and then we had the tyres on the wrong side of the car. It was just one of those races where everything was going to happen, and it did, and fortunate for ourselves, a lot of the competitors, at least at the point end of the championship, had a bit of a rough day too. Some of them not so much, but to still maintain a sizable or at least a good amount of points from Iowa is good, but we've got to concentrate on this weekend now and try and rack up some more.
Jared?
Right here. With 4 different series here and 4 different tire manufacturers, how much of an impact does the different compounds and types of rubber have on the track, and does it make it kind of deceptive when you look at it as being rubbered in when it may not be as grippy as you think?
I don't think there is a much. Obviously, as a street course, there is a huge track revolution. So you can see the lap times gain coming from the lots of rubbed in, but all the rubbers doesn't really angry together. So I don't think it was a much difference. I felt, as I said earlier, that the Firestone brought here, the tires seems to be really wide working range, and it's a grip up really straight away and quite comfortable with it. I mean, that's part of the reason, as Scott said, we just caught us surprised at how quick it is. I mean, it's a lot of grip, isn't it? I mean, it's incredible. So maybe if there's any support races, longer duration of the race, maybe a Saturday evening or whatever, and then go to the Sunday morning warm up might be different for us. But I don't believe it's a huge difference.
Other questions? Yes, sir, in the corner.
There seems to be a lot of inexperience here this year with drivers like Jordan King, Rennie Binder, Robert Wickens, who've never raced at this track before. Do you think about that when you're driving around them this weekend?
No, I think anybody that gets to this level, has accomplished a lot along the way. Robert's been very quick this year. He's come close to winning, a couple of races, and I expect him to later in the season for sure, if not this weekend. And I feel the same, with most of the guys that have come in. So, no, I think you always try and find your way a little bit with some of the competitors, and that can change from week to week too, depending on how good your car is or how bad it is, and vice versa for them as well. So, no, I think everybody races fair.
Mary, did you have a question? And then Nate, Bruce, right up here in the front.
Takuma, you brought up the fact that the car's a lot faster than what you expected. Could you give me an idea what the top speed is going into turn 1 and into 3, and are those the two best places to pass?
Unfortunately, I don't have a speedometer in my car, so I don't know. But in pulling, I think it's pretty good. I think you can find out in the sector times, maybe in the press films. I don't know, but good 180-ish maybe.
I think it's 180 or something.
Yeah, 180-ish. Yeah, so I think it's very fast. But I think the breaking point is really similar to last year, isn't it? I mean,
It's late.
quite
There's a
late.
little bit of a headwind, which is helping.
Yeah, considering like Scott said, 1,000 pounds of the reduction of downforce as well as we lost air brake because it's less drag, right? So it's nothing, it's just a stop by air, and doing that and then stopping the car like this is quite impressive. So I think it's going to be quite physical, in a nice way. I think it's quite fun to drive.
Nate?
Yeah, I've got two. The first, Honda seemed to have a lot of pace in practice on both sessions today. Is that something you'll expect to continue in the next 2 days? Or
Yeah, I hope so.
any reason for it?
They're doing a good job.
Do you think Chevrolet, perhaps, since Indy isn't quite as much on scene?
I think they drive quite differently, and they're better in different areas. I think Honda has more of a spread. I think they've done a really good job with drivability, especially on these street courses and road courses. The torque I think the engine has, or the way it just puts it to the pavement is really good. I don't know. I think each driver complains a little about different things from the engine side, but I'd say from the Honda point of view, everybody's a lot more happier than the competition. But we'll see. Some are turned down more than others on some days. It depends.
And then there was news today that it sounds like Laguna Seca will be on the schedule next year in place of Sonoma. Just want your guys' reactions to that.
I never raced Laguna Seca, so find out. I'd love to go there.
I didn't hear that. So it's in place of Sonoma for now. Wow, it's interesting.
You raced there?
Yeah, I did my first season in car. Obviously, I raced there in Indy Lights, but my first season in car. Actually, maybe the second too. I think I've raced it twice. It's quite a small track.
Your team has quite a history.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, not me, but the team does.
Bruce?
Scott, your fast lap, you're a half second faster than the rest of the field. Was that because of the tires or because of your superior driving skill?
No, I think you could see, I think, basically, some competitors found a little bit of time on reds. I think sometimes it depends on the balance of the car. And we struggled sometimes, like at Detroit for the last 2 years, we really struggled to get any pace out of the red tyre, whereas this year we've done a slightly better job of that. As I said earlier, I think, I expect the competition to be very close tomorrow once they, can be a big balance shift between those tyres, and maybe we just hit it a little bit better than some of the others.
Patrick?
Scott, you mentioned being surprised at how much quicker you were considering the loss of downforce. Do you think perhaps the old kit was over downforced? And over draggy? I mean, do the manufacturer gone too far in that, just keep heading downforce direction?
I don't know. It's hard to. No, I think I think you would definitely be quicker if you're running, the downforce from last year. With the competition, between manufacturers like that, you actually get a much more efficient kit. This one is just the same for everybody, so I wouldn't say it's exactly efficient. It's probably got the same or more drag than, a relevant kind of downforce level. But I don't know. I think to me, and I don't know if with Takuma too, but it's more the surface grip. They've only really paved one straight, but the whole track, whether it's the tire and Firestone, so they've got the same tire. So I don't know. It just feels grippy.
Yes, it seems like a good combination of mechanical group improvement a lot. You talk about lap time, it's really, you talk about air efficiency. Some of the track, it doesn't much, but this track has got a couple of straights. So that's here you lost a lot of the twisty sections are a lot slower than last year for sure. But because you gain so much down the straight, it just compensates on the same. And then today seems to be whether it was a condition or matching the condition with the tires, it seems to be we're getting a lot of mechanical grip, so it's kind of it's going faster than last year.
Any final questions for Scott and Takuma? Yes, Nate.
For Scott, is Iowa, is that something like as a championship team you have to have a weekend like that during the course of the season to sort of test your resilience, or is it the sign of maybe something worse that it could be getting off track a little bit?
You hope not to have weekends like that. I don't know. I was probably a little too optimistic. We were one of the teams that didn't test there, which I think, there's many explanations, but you get 1 hour practice for a race weekend to go straight into qualifying. Like it's a short weekend, so testing there for a whole day, you gain a whole lot more than maybe you would at some other circuit where you have today. This weekend we'll have 3 practices or 4 with warm up. So it's I think we just didn't hit it exactly right. We were too loose. I think our pace, on the before the second to last caution was quite good. We just started off poorly, and then we had a long list of issues that got us into a bit of a tailspin. But it happens. We've had it before, and you try to eliminate those weekends, but obviously they happen.
Any final questions? Yes, sir.
Looking at the weather this weekend, it looks like we're going to avoid the rain, but it does look like it's going to be quite hot in the high 30s come Sunday. I'm wondering how the heat affects you guys in a long race and how you prepare for that.
Nothing you can prepare other than you put a little bit more drinks in the car. But what you got is what you got really. You have to see how the tire degradation is coming. Obviously, it's the hotter condition. You lose the downforce, and then the surface temperature moving up, and then the tires so having harder time. So I think every stint is towards the end of the stint you would see the more tire degradation. And I think that's a part of the game. I think who can manage and better. I think it's a hotter temperature brings more the difference between cars and the drivers. That's my opinion. We will see. I mean, it seems to be today it's hot enough, but tire really keeping good grip out of it. I mean, the red tire, I don't know, degradation obviously worse than the blacks, but last year the black tire seems to be very consistent tire, so we'll see how the reds survive this year.
Should help beer sales, right?
Scott, Takuma, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.